day of yoga. Welcome to your 5 minutes of self-care with Geraldine Hardy. Happy Solstice. This is a very, very auspicious day. About 15,000 years, the whole foundation of yoga started by a person who was just sitting there for days and months meditating. Now, the only reason why I have guided you through the whole ethical principles of the philosophy of yoga is to understand that how we act, how we think, the emotions, how we act, they are all intertwined and interacting with each other. What I have observed within the last years is that our new generation, the so-called digital natives, Generation Z, in gaming, in technology, cryptocurrency, everything is so techy, and that's good. But we need to keep the human factor alive. This is so important. I'm sharing this with you because I have observed this within the last years that we have sometimes lost the human touch on how we run our lives, how we run companies, startups, young CEOs that have just totally forgotten how it is to be human. And there I can just tell you something from my generation, because I'm 44 years old now, and even the generation of our parents, grandparents, that sometimes morals and values are so important for us to co-create abundance. And that's the reason why I guided you through these principles. They have helped me in the last 8 years to overcome certain trauma, to deprogram myself and unconditioned layers of my being. As I mentioned before, between 0 and 7 years old, this is where we get programmed and conditioned, meaning that our brainwave is in a theta brainwave, and that is pretty much that part where we are in a hypnotic state of mind. And everything just gets programmed in our unconscious mind. That means if you have been taught, for instance, at 3 years old, I was a ballet dancer, I started being disciplined. All of these layers will show up again in the future, in your future life. And that's the reason, like, especially for the young generation, the way how you live now has an effect on how you will grow older in the future. The way how we lead our lives, how we lead our teams, has an effect in our private and professional life. Being really authentic means that you can be you, yourself, in your private and your professional life. The whole notion of working hard, play hard, going for money, for the quick buck, greed, is not sustainable. We see this now with the cryptocurrency market, which is just at the moment not absolutely, it's not viable. The way how we do earn money really quickly, but we can lose it quickly. But that does not mean that I don't believe in abundance. Of course, money is a form of energy. This is really important. Money is a form of energy, which means, for instance, now for the spiritual workers out there, if you teach a yoga class, yes, you have given your time, money, and effort and energy out there, which means you also something returns back to you. This is reciprocity. We need to be really careful with this. Abundance is good. It's okay. But then also to uplift and inspire humanity. Which means if you run a company, if you run a ship, if you run a yacht, do not forget the human factor. That you deal with humans, that we still show compassion, kindness, and understand that emotional intelligence, for instance, is a key indicator on how we can lead very sustainable. But how much self-love we have for oneself also reflects on how we lead teams, how we lead our lives, and how we run a boat. And we tend to forget this. Which means when you work hard and play hard yourself, you will have most likely the same expectations towards the other person. Now, all the moral values or the ethical guiding principles that I have taught you in the last weeks, if it is ahimsa, compassion, which is at the end of the day self-love, non-violence towards oneself. If it's satya, truthfulness, being really authentic and truthful to ourselves, so we can also communicate this to our outer world. Brahmacharya, how to use our energy wisely, to not burn out, to understand that energy is a beautiful gift that has been given to us by Source, Divine, God, whatever you believe in, and how we can nourish and nurture our vital force. Asteya, non-stealing, where we understand that the story is ours and cannot be stolen by someone else. That the journey that you have to process is yours to experience, to learn, and to enjoy the blessings. Swadhyaya, self-study. How we study ourselves and reflect upon ourselves on a constant basis to understand what happens around us is a reflection from what is happening within ourselves. Tapas, to show up for oneself every single day, showing this discipline to show up for ourselves on the mat, in our training, meditation practice, to work, because we do need to function in the 3D. We cannot just be up in the sphere in the 5D. We are here now on that physical planet, and how we can function, how we can uplift and inspire humanity. All of these guiding principles, they all work together. So you have tapas, svadhyaya, but then you have also the notion of everything that you do every single day to show up for oneself. You reflect upon yourself and you let go. You trust in life, universe, and that anything that you have done will bear fruits in the future. But you show up for yourself without these expectations. And that is Ishvara Pranidhana, trust. So important to trust. And to let go. Aparigraha, letting go. Now, how many of us have been in toxic relationships? How many of us have repeated cycles in job search, in relationships for your private life, in family issues? All of this, all of us have experienced it, traumas. Once you have gone into the feeling, the emotion, have healed your trauma, it's time to let go. Once you can see that the lesson has repeated itself and you see you're in the same relationship again, it's time to let go. No matter how tough that can be and hard it can be, it cannot be sustainable to sacrifice our lives instead of stepping in our real purpose and our mission work to uplift and inspire humanity. And that means using your gifts. If this is being super organized and you're really good in a corporation and you work in HR or you work as a project manager, that is your gift. If you have a voice, you sing beautifully and you share this with humanity, that is your gift. If you have the talent for dance, movement, and you want to share it with humanity, that's your gift. If you just hold space for the people who are needed, like you're a nurse, you work in an elderly home, that is your gift. It does not need to be something super spiritual that you have to become a yoga teacher, a mystic, a healer, a shaman. No, your gift can be anything that is just that makes you feel good, and that makes you to step into your service of uplifting and inspiring humanity. So you listen now, I'm using a lot of the same words because leadership, leading your lives, I've learned this so many years ago by reading the first book of Robin Sharma, The Monk Who Sold His Ferrari. And I continued studying, and how we lead corporations, but it's the same how we lead our lives. Uplift and inspire, these are key words. How you can create joy in your everyday tasks, and how you can create joy around you and just share this light. Why yoga? That worked for me. You know, maybe Taoism, whatever that nurtures your inner spark, your soul, and that speaks and resonates to you. That, you know, is your thing. It can be Buddhism, it can be within your religious beliefs, you know, and trust and faith in God. But this is really up to you to find and to nourish and nurture all the layers of our multidimensional being. This means your spiritual, your mental, your emotional, your physical, and also the wisdom level, you know. Wisdom is only knowledge that we apply. So that's a lot to take in, and it's more longer than 5 minutes here. But I like you to enjoy this day, the sun, and when you're in other part of the hemisphere, enjoy the day and embrace darkness too. And maybe light a candle. So I wish you a happy solstice, happy International Day of Yoga. Namaste, Namaha.